I'm a clinical psychologist and therapist who's been working in the field of mental health in the past 26 years. I do counseling for patients, for clients across all age groups. I am a mother. I have a daughter who's 17-year-old. I love Bollywood movies. As I said last time, that's my way to unwind and to relax. And I'm a big Shah Rukh Khan fan. So whenever I'm like feeling low or whatever, I just start watching movies. I exercise, I go for a walk. So every evening, 6:30 to 8 is like my time. I don't do anything during that time. I just walk, exercise, and just calm my mind down from all my stressors with my patients and whatever is happening in everyday life. Yeah. So let me just start by asking you all if you remember what we did last time. Just a quick recap. So we discussed impact, what's the importance of mental health, right? Can anybody tell me? Saleh, can you just unmute? Just 1-2 people, if you remember, what did we discuss? What was the important? Why is mental health so important? Anybody remembers?
Health is important for physical health.
Yes, important to physical health. Very good. Anybody else? Anything else?
It's also important for conversation and adjustment to the environment.
Yes, we have good, healthy conversations. Saleh, can we have the first slide?
Can't hear. Can't hear you.
We can't hear.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay. So the first thing is, why is mental health important? Saleh, first slide. Mental health is important, as we said last time, because it affects our physical health. A healthy mind is a healthy body. We have psychosomatic disorders like acidity, ulcer, PCOD, आजकल बहुत होता है. Heart related issues, which is because our mental health is not okay. We have these kind of issues which affect our body. Secondly, it helps us to have good, healthy relationships with people. You know, if your mental health is not okay, you start getting irritated, you start fighting with people for no reason at all. So if you are okay mentally, if you're sound mentally, if you're happy, if you're stress-free, if you're not anxious, you can have a good, healthy relationships with people around you. It helps you to work productively, helps you to be content and to be happy in life with no stress. And lastly, it helps you in making the correct decision. बहुत टाइम जब हम लोग एंग्री होते हैं, हम अपसेट होते हैं, हमारे डिसीजंस भी गलत हो जाते हैं. अगर हम एंगर में कुछ, इफ वी डिसाइड समथिंग व्हेन वी आर अपसेट, तो हम इमोशनली वो चीज को डिसाइड करते हैं और फिर बाद में हम रिग्रेट करते हैं. या हम बहुत गुस्से में होते हैं तो हम इम्पल्सिवली कुछ भी डिसाइड करते हैं, देन वी रिग्रेट इट अगेन. बट व्हेन वी decide, when with a clear mind, with our thought process is very clear, we end up making right decisions for ourselves. So this is basically why mental health is so important, right? All okay? Okay, next slide please, Saleh. Okay, now today we'll just focus on the elderly. के जो elderly population है हमारा, जो आपके जैसे लोग हैं, उनमें क्या होता है? What are the psychological issues, with everyday psychological issues, रोज के जो issues होते हैं, what are they which affect the elderly mainly? So first is आपका जो physical health है वो decline हो रहा है, means you're not able to walk as fast as you can, you might not be able to see properly, you might not be able to hear properly. बेसिक फिजिकल हेल्थ इश्यूज जो होते हैं वो, so उससे हमें थोड़ा अपसेट हो जाता है. we feel upset, we feel angry, we feel sad that जो हम कर पाते थे वो हम अब नहीं कर पाते हैं. So first thing is your declining physical health. Second thing, most important, is isolation from the family, especially during corona. Right now what is happening, कि अगर हम अकेले रह रहे हैं या हम हमारे हस्बैंड के साथ रह रहे हैं, हमारे बच्चे और किधर है, we are separate, we don't know what is happening to them, so we have a lot of anxiety because of that. because because of what is happening around us. So that is one of the reasons also why the elderly is facing a lot of stress. Thirdly is increased dependency. Again, जो हम young थे, हम वो जो काम कर सकते थे, वो हम बुढ़ापे में नहीं कर सकते हैं. We are dependent on our children for small things. अगर हमको बैंक भी जाना है, हम नहीं जा सकते हैं, तो हम हमारे बच्चों के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है कि बेटा प्लीज मुझे बैंक ले जा. फिर वो ना बोलता है या वो बोलती है, तो फिर हमें गुस्सा आता है. So because of these small things, we get upset, we get anxious, we get angry. Fourthly, loss of a loved one. Agar hamara partner, our husband or wife passes away, some elderly people have lost their children, they have lost their friends. So that is another reason why they feel very upset because of what is happening around them. And they can't cope with that loss. Lastly, empty nest syndrome. So for example, जब हमारे बच्चे young रहते हैं, हम बच्चों के लिए सब कुछ करते हैं. You know, we take care of them, we make their khana, we take care of their office timings. When they are in school, we are monitoring their school, their classes. जब तक बच्चे की शादी नहीं होती है, फिर एक बार शादी होती है, the wife takes over the house or the daughter gets married. So suddenly this person doesn't know what to do with their time. So this is known as the empty nest syndrome. ये सिंड्रोम अक्सर विमेन को बहुत होता है कि उनके फ्री टाइम में अब हम क्या करें. So this is a very, very important thing which happens in most elderly people, that we have so much time on hand and we don't know how to utilize that time. So they get anxious, they get depressed, they get angry, they get irritated. Yeah, everybody got it till now? Yeah, okay. Any questions till now? Just 1-2 questions I can answer and then we'll go on to the next one. Sale, unmute now.
We feel that we are not being wanted now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Anything else?
The young people used to come to us to take
Sorry,
help.
the
Now,
young,
since we are able to help, we are unwanted people now.
right. But that is how you feel, ma'am. So we will get to that also.
Yes.
Anything else
About the first one.
about the first one? Yeah. What about the first one?
It is like you say you have to be mentally okay with the people if you're staying with. What about the people who is staying with me?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Yes. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm
They
coming
don't-
to that.
They don't want to share anything with us.
Yeah.
Everything
I
is
agree. I
among
agree.
You
themselves.
don't want to share anything with us and keep us aloof from everything.
So see, I will tell you a case. Okay. If this will help you all, right? I'll tell you a case. So recently I got this couple from Kandivli. So basically the boy's sister called me up saying that my family में बहुत सारे issues हो रहे हैं. मेरा भाई, उसका भाई कुछ 40-45 years का है. वो भाई अपनी, you know, the brother and bhabhi are treating the mother very, very badly. Mother and father very badly. ठीक है? तो और वो लड़का उसकी माँ को बहुत गलत चीजें बोलता था. तो वो लेडी 73 की थी. तो उनको चाहता था कि वो आंटी आए काउंसलिंग के लिए. तो पहले आई सेड कि लेट द हस्बैंड एंड द वाइफ कम टू मी फॉर काउंसलिंग, द बॉय, द सन एंड द डॉटर इन लॉ. जब वो लोग आए काउंसलिंग के लिए, तब मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि उनको भी रियलाइज हुआ कि द बॉय वाज नॉट गिविंग द मदर द अटेंशन व्हिच द मदर वांटेड. So the mother was behaving in a negative manner with the boy. Okay. When the boy realized that, okay, Papa, I have to be giving my mother attention. Okay. He went back. He started talking to his mother. Things were okay. Next week, the mother came to me for counseling. Mother की बात से मुझे realize हुआ that mother has never expressed her feeling, what she is feeling to the boy. Okay. And because of that, insecurity or jealousy with the daughter-in-law, the mother was competing with the daughter-in-law. Okay, तो वो जो बहू रहती थी उसके हाथ का खाना नहीं बनाती थी, तो उसका लड़का उसकी माँ के हाथ का खाना नहीं खाता था. छोटी छोटी चीजें पे ये प्रॉब्लम्स होती थी. जब वो आंटी ने मेरे से बात की, तब उनको रियलाइज हुआ दैट अगर वो अपने लड़के से बात नहीं करेगी, उसको बोलेगी नहीं उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम है, the problem will never get resolved. So the mother spoke to me separately, the boy spoke to me separately. They both understood each other's point of view and एक session के बाद दोनों के एक session हमने किए. After that they are fine, absolutely fine. They are staying together. They are staying happily to each other with each other. They are expressing what they are feeling with each other. So most of the problems come when we don't express what we feel to the other person. This is a very, very common problems when sons or their daughters get married. So expressing what you feel emotionally is very, very important to the partner or your child or whoever you are feeling something about. Right? Okay, can we go on to the next slide? Okay. Now, what are the broad
Can
kinds
I
of...
say something?
Yes, please tell me. Hello? Yeah?
Hello?
Yes, please tell me.
Yeah, sometimes mother-in-law, sometimes mother-in-law feeling insecure. It is insecurity from the daughter-in-law
It's both ways. See, it's
that
both.
my husband should
It-
not be
yeah, see,
talked.
It always is a
Yeah.
two-way process. It's never a one-way process. So the mother-in-law is
Yes.
never going to be bad fully. Neither is the daughter-in-law going to be bad fully, right? So effective communication is what you need. And most of the problems in our lives occur because there is ineffective communication. And we tend to mind read other people. कि वो ऐसे सोचती रहेगी, वो ऐसे सोचता रहेगा, बट जरूरी नहीं है कि वो ऐसे सोचता ही रहेगा या वो ऐसे सोचती रहेगी. हम वो सोचते हैं कि वो ऐसे सोचता है या सोचती है, but it's not necessary that he or she will be thinking like that. Right? So the thing is, when we try to mind read what other people are thinking, that is the problem, because we are never going to be accurate in reading their minds. But we base our opinions and our decision and our behaviors on how we are interpreting their mind. You understand what I'm saying? इससे अच्छा अगर हम बोलते हैं, effective communication. So we will be doing that at a later date. This is just a broad thing.
That is more important.
So we will be doing sessions on effective communication and all that later on. Okay. So another thing is what are the broad...
That's very important.
Yes, very, very important. Absolutely. Right. So what are the broad types of mental health issues in seniors? Okay. So very often people mistake sadness with depression. Okay. Now sadness is something happens and you feel bad, you feel sad, but in a day or two you get over it. You put it behind you and you get over it. You know, like supposing you go down and a friend talks to you rudely. Okay. You feel sad कि ठीक है क्यों उसने ऐसे में से बात की, क्या हो गया, एक दो दिन आपको बुरा लगेगा and you forget about it. You're like ठीक है, हो गया ना हो गया. Depression is when you live in the past and you let the past affect your present and your future. That is depression. So depression is basically, it's a medical condition. It is a mood disorder basically, which affects how we think, feel and behave. It interferes with our day-to-day functioning. So mainly when a person is depressed, clinically depressed, okay? So we have sadness, we have a very low mood. वो बंदे को कुछ अच्छा ही नहीं लगता है, उसको लगता है आगे तो कुछ अच्छा होने ही नहीं वाला है, मेरे साथ तो सब खराब ही होने वाला है. There's a lot of anger, there is demotivation, the person does not feel like getting out of bed. He's like, मैं क्या करूंगा उठ के, कुछ नहीं है, मेरी life खाली है, मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ. They don't feel like getting out of bed. They don't feel like eating. They feel that life is very bad, life is very unfair to them and nothing will get better in their life. Often there is too little sleep or there is too much of sleep, too little eating or too much of eating. General feeling of lethargy, मतलब उनको कुछ करना ही नहीं है, you know, उठेंगे सवेरे. I have patients who come and tell me, I don't feel like getting out of bed only. मुझे मन ही नहीं करता है कि मैं बेड से उठूं. They don't want to go for a walk. Even everyday chores, what they were doing becomes a task for them. So they can't do that. So Another thing is that the person starts thinking very negatively about themselves and about the situation around them and about the world. So that is depression. So when they are sad also, they say, "Arey, we are depressed. Arey, we are depressed." But that is not depression. And the symptoms have to last for more than 2 weeks at least to be called depressed. Okay, so this is depression. Depression is you are brooding over the past, you are blaming yourself for something which has happened in the past, and you cannot get over that feeling. So that is depression. Okay, now what is anxiety? Can anybody tell me what is anxiety? Because a lot of us suffer from anxiety. Anybody?
Worrying too much about the future.
Worried about everything that is happening around.
Yes.
Worry.
Yes.
Worry.
Yes, worry. Anything else?
Fear.
Anxious.
Yeah, what
Very
is
anxious to
being
know
anxious?
exactly what is happening, why is it happening.
Yes. So anxiety.
Hurry. Hurry
Anxiety.
Zaru.
Worry.
Hurry and hurry.
No hurry.
Hurry also.
Worry in a hurry.
Hurry. हाँ.
Okay. So anxiety मतलब हमको जब घबराहट होती है बहुत बहुत टाइम पे हमें ऐसे लगता है कुछ बुरा होने वाला है, कुछ बुरा होने वाला है, and we feel that feeling within us. It's a kind of nervousness, a tension about the future. So basically anxiety is unnecessary worry about the future. It is you exaggerate the fears which you believe may come true. So you worry irrationally. Okay. So for example is when you are anxious, you will say, "अरे यार ये खराब ही होने वाला है, ये खराब ही होने वाला है, ये अच्छा ही नहीं होने वाला है." So basically आप आपके दिमाग में खिचड़ी बना रहे हो एक सिचुएशन के बारे में जो होगा या नहीं होगा वो आपको भी पता नहीं है. That is anxiety. So basically, how do you behave when you are anxious? How does a person behave? You may run to the washroom several times. You may sleep too little because of the stress. Some people feel nauseous. Some people feel acidic. Some people have headaches. Some people have cold sweats. Typically, you behave like this when you are anxious. Sometimes you may even land up in a hospital with symptoms which are very, very similar to that of a heart attack. So the doctors will check you up and say, "नहीं नहीं कुछ भी नहीं है इसको." You need to go and see a psychologist because there's something wrong with the brain and the chemicals in the brain and not with your heart. So this is anxiety when you're just worrying and worrying and worrying about the future without knowing whether it's going to come true or not going to come true. So for example, when people are anxious, supposing there is an exam the next day. Okay, when it comes to children, there's an exam the next day. There's one child who's very cool about the paper. ठीक है, जो होगा, I will do it. The other child is very anxious. He's getting worried. He's not sleeping properly in the night. As a result, the next day he goes and he messes up the paper. Why? Because he was anxious about the exam and he didn't study. Or it could also happen that the paper turned out to be very easy. He could crack the paper and then later on he worries. He says that, "अरे यार ये तो कुछ नहीं था, खाली पीली I was worrying about it." So many a times, even in our own lives, we have situations where we get very anxious about the future without thinking that is this fear real or is it made up? So that is anxiety. It's an irrational fear or a phobia which we have about the future. So normally when people have undergoing anxiety, they become very superstitious. They become religious कि यार अगर ऐसे होगा तो मैं इतने नारियल जाके चढ़ाऊंगा, or some Muslim will say I'll go and I'll pray namaz. That is what I do when I get anxious or I want something. I'll tell God, okay, I'll pray namaz, so I hope it comes true. So we tend to become very superstitious also in these kind of situations. When we were growing up, when we had exams, we all would have a lucky pen or a lucky T-shirt to help us during those anxious moments for our exams or whatever the anxiety provoking situation was. So that is anxiety in brief. Then loneliness. As somebody said, we are lonely. Even if because we are living around with people don't understand what we are going through. So we are lonely. So we don't have social interactions. Moreover, with this COVID time, so we are lonely. Helplessness sometimes at the situation we are in, or our increased dependency on other people causes us helplessness. Grief, sadness, grief when you lose a loved one, when you lose a spouse, you lose a partner, you lose a child, you lose a very, very close friend, so many years. So you have grief, you don't know how to overcome that grief or that grief. Secondly, our society teaches us not to express our emotions, especially for men. So, for example, if somebody dies, somebody close to us dies, and a man feels like crying, people will tell him, no, no, you have to be strong, you have to be strong. As a result, that man keeps all the emotions bottled up inside. I would like to give you all a case study for this, for grief. So I'm working currently with a client of mine who is about 60 years of age. And she's got all messed up relationships in her life. She doesn't, her son is like 25 or whatever. She doesn't keep in contact with her son at all. She just ignores her child. She's separated from her husband, doesn't bother about them at all. Like even if her son and she are sitting in the same room, she won't look at her son. So she's come to me because she's undergoing a lot of depression. She doesn't want to interact with people and stuff like that. Okay. So the story goes back to when she was 22. She was in love with a guy when she was, for 7 years, she was in love with him. She got married to him. And after 7 months of marriage, he passed away. When he passed away, it was a shock to her. She got into a state of shock. She did not cry. Her mother told her, you can't cry, you have to be strong, you have to be strong, you have to be strong, you can't cry, you can't let people see what you are going through. She didn't cry. Cut to, they got her back to her house, to Bombay. She started working. She met this other guy who she married later on. It was an intercaste marriage. She was never happy with the guy. She kept comparing him to the first husband. She was never in love with the guy. She had a kid through the guy. And when she told me, even when my kid was born, when he was 40 days old, I only wanted to get rid of him. So when he was 40 days old, she started putting him in a creche. And then when the child was 10 years old, eventually she just couldn't take it anymore. And she left the husband and the child, and she's just gone away. So because of that one incident in her life where she did not, such a big incident where she was not allowed to express her emotions in a correct manner and was taught to bottle up her emotions, has given rise to this kind of a complicated situation in her life 35 years later. So dealing with grief, dealing with these emotions is very, very important. Secondly, lastly, there is a lot of anger issues also which senior citizens face. Because of that also, their mental health is not okay. They are irritated, they are frustrated. So anger is another intense emotion which is not taught to be expressed correctly, because of which we face mental health issues. Then there's rage, which is an extreme form of anger. So mainly these are the broad types of mental health issues which are seen in the senior citizen population. These are just a few which are very, very common and which can be tackled very, very easily. Right? Yeah. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So, as I said last time, what are the ways in which we can tackle these mental health issues, which we are going through? The first one is you approach a counselor, you approach a therapist. Either you have individual sessions or you have group sessions, which are called as support groups. Not all mental illnesses require medication. No, they don't at all. Most of them get okay with just talking and therapy and sharing each other's sharing each other's experiences and how you got out of that situation in a healthy, effective manner. Okay. And if at all one does require medication, it's absolutely okay, because it is just used to calm the chemicals in your brain and to make them work effectively. But mostly these kind of mental issues, what we have discussed, would not require medication unless it's an extreme case. So you approach a counselor, you approach a psychotherapist to help you deal with the problem effectively through talking. Okay. There is something which is known as a support group. Now, what is a support group? A support group is a group of 9 to 10 people who come together to discuss a particular issue they are all going through. So the issue is same. We are sitting and talking about the issue, how to cope with that issue in an effective manner. So it's a safe place where you are openly communicating your feelings, your emotions. There is no right or wrong. There is no fear of being judged. Absolutely. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong. Like we discussed earlier, that between a daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law, the problem, nobody is right, nobody is wrong. Everybody has their own point of view, but how we express that point of view becomes a problem. So in a support group, you learn how to express your emotions in a healthy way and to deal with the emotion in a healthy way, and to understand that you are not the only person who is undergoing this. There are many other people who are also undergoing this. Okay, so one can share personal experiences, feelings. You can learn effective coping strategies which help you in leading a more productive, happy life. So for example, if you tend to get angry, what I have seen is many senior citizens tend to get angry if it's like either their way or the highway. Okay. Now in that state of anger, they may break things, they may say something very rude to their kids, by which will further worsen matters. So through a support group, you realize that, okay, how do you vent this out, or how do you communicate this anger in a healthy way? This is just one of the small features of a support group. Yeah, Taran, the next slide, Taran. Okay, now what are the different types of support groups which you have? So you have something for grief, which is very common right now in the Corona days. So it's a grief support group where people who have lost loved ones want to express how they feel and how to cope with that emotion. So there is grief, there is chronic illnesses. For example, people suffering from cancer or any other life-threatening illnesses. So they come together and they have a support group. People suffering from substance abuse, like people who are alcoholics or drug addicts or who are addicted to smoking. So you have a support group for people undergoing substance abuse. You have a support group how to deal with your anxiety, how to deal with your fears. You have a support group for depression. You have a support group how to deal with your kids or your family. So supposing you have 8 people who are having communication problems with their daughters-in-law, okay, for example, or their sons. So you have a group and you discuss common strategies on how, by living together, how you can make it a conducive environment for you and them. Marriage ups and downs with their spouses, effective communication with people around you, how to make friends, how to converse with your friends. Lastly, handling intense emotions like rage and anger. Next slide, Saleh. Okay. Now at Tare, we are planning to start small and focused support groups, which are going to be online. And there will be separate groups for each issue being addressed. So example, if people are anxious, so we have a separate support group for people who are anxious. People who are upset, people who are depressed over something, we have a separate support group for them. People who are facing trouble, staying in a joint family with their sons and daughter-in-law and don't know how to get out of that situation, we have a separate support group for that. We have minimum batch of 4, maximum will be 9 people. Okay, now either we can have the support group with people who don't know each other. So sometimes it becomes people are more comfortable sharing with strangers rather than sharing with people who they know. Or if people are okay to form their own support group of 7 to 8 people who they know closely and they want to interact with them closely, we can even do that. And we have professional counselors to facilitate the support groups. So this is what Tare plans to do over the next few weeks. If you all are keen and we can work out something. Yeah, any questions? So with this, I end my presentation. Any questions? Anybody has any feedback?